Dearly beloved in Jesus Christ, today's gospel passage is a trap used by Pharisees to trap Jesus, and Jesus makes use of the same trap to teach a catechesis for his enemies and for all of us. Today's parable is also an evidence that God's wisdom is much higher than human understanding, because God answers perennial questions of human beings, that is, whether God is more important or the nation is more important. In today's gospel, Jesus answers the question, is it lawful to pay tax to the Caesar or not? This is a question put forth by the Pharisees to trap Jesus. Jesus was put in a dilemma, because if he says it is not lawful to pay tax to the Caesar, promptly the Roman soldiers would come and arrest Jesus because he speaks against the nation. But if he says it is lawful to pay tax to the Caesar, then he will become a black mark in the eyes of the people, because people hated taxation. But Jesus, with his divine wisdom, neither offended the Roman emperor nor offended the people. And also, he used this occasion to catechize everyone. While answering this question, Jesus brings to our attention an important notion of double citizenship that every human being is endowed with. This double citizenship is very clear in the answer Jesus gives to the question, give to Caesar that which belongs to Caesar, and to God that which belongs to God. In other words, every individual is having double citizenship. He is also citizen of the heaven and citizen of the country to which he belongs. Therefore, it's a double privilege, and also it is a double responsibility that every human being holds to while he lives on this earth. Today's gospel passage also throws light into two important notions. Firstly, today's gospel passage tells that God's kingdom is different from the empirical kingdoms. Remember, Jesus tells, my kingdom is not of this world. That is why he never interpoles himself as a mediator for the earthly things. Jesus gives an example to his disciples who are dealing with secular things but not secular things. He tells that they are to keep away from the dealings of these secular things and leave them to those personalities who are very expert and who are given responsibility to do these things. Therefore, it is very clear and very evident for all of us that God wants all of us to render to him not of the temporal world, but render to him that which belongs to heavenly kingdom. Therefore, God wants our heart and our conscience. In Proverbs 23:26, it is said, my son, give to me your heart. Therefore, take your money bag and give it to the Caesar, and take your conscience and give it to God. God needs our pure heart and completely pure conscience, nothing at all. Secondly, today's gospel passage categorically tells all of us that Christianity is never against any civil authority. Every subject of a nation is liable to the laws that are imprinted in the constitution of the country, and everyone is supposed to follow it. And Christianity never disobeys it. Every true Christian stands by the statement made by St. Peter in his first letter, chapter 2, verses 17, where he says, fear God and honor the emperor. Therefore, Christianity is never against any civil authority. In this regard, a Christian may ask, what if the civil law comes in conflict with my Christian directives and principles. What should I do? Dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, Catechism of the Catholic Church puts forth a beautiful answer for this question. I quote, "Every citizen obliged in conscience not to obey the civil authorities if the civil laws go against moral obligations and the fundamental rights of the person or the gospel teachings." But dear brothers and sisters, here one needs to understand the real implications of this article. It is not the adamant negation of the civil law, but it is living the natural law which is written in everyone's conscience. This can be very well explained with the example of the abortion. In this present scenario, the abortion is legalized in many of the nations of the earth. Many countries have given permission to go for abortion, but it doesn't mean that abortion is right. Still, Church upholds that abortion is a sin and Christians are not supposed to do it. Therefore, dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, even if this abortion is legalized in our country, a Christian must not go for abortion, because in the positive law and natural law it is said, taking life of a living being is sin for any sake. Therefore, this natural law written in everybody's conscience should be understood properly by each individual while the conflict arises between the civil laws and the laws of the church. This natural law is not just pertaining to Christians, not just pertaining to Catholics, but it is a law written in everyone's heart. If there is a conflict between the directives of the civil authorities and the directives of the church, we have to listen to the voice of the conscience, because that is the right thing that should be done. Today's liturgy of the word speaks to us about two important notions. The first one is, God's kingdom does not belong to this kingdom. Therefore, God does not ask us to render to Him that which is temporal, but God demands of us a pure conscience and a holy heart. Secondly, Christianity is never against any civil authorities. Let God bless us all.